2,000 years ago, Marcus Aurelius was the most powerful man on earth. He ruled over an empire spanning tens of millions of square miles and wielded authority over the lives of countless people. His control extended to the most formidable army of the age. With absolute power over life and death, he could have indulged in luxury or retreated into indolence. He could have easily succumbed to insanity from the pressures of his role. Yet, remarkably, he proved worthy of the immense responsibility and power bestowed upon him. Even more impressive, he managed to maintain his integrity, avoiding corruption and enduring the relentless weight of his position. What was his secret? How did this extraordinary man, a philosopher king, navigate his day? Thanks to Meditations, the private reflections of Marcus Aurelius, we have a glimpse into his life. And that's what I want to explore today, the daily routine of Marcus Aurelius. Like all of us, Marcus's day began in the morning. We know he rose early, not by nature, but by discipline. In Meditations, he describes his struggle with getting out of bed. At dawn, when faced with the comfort of his blankets, he would remind himself, "I have to go to work as a human being. Is this what I was created for, to huddle under the blankets and stay warm?" Though it was pleasant to stay in bed, he knew he was made for more than comfort. So he rose to greet the dawn, embodying the discipline that so many productive people cultivate. In these early hours, Marcus found time for quiet reflection, writing, journaling, and studying philosophy before the demands of the day set in. Before petitions, requests, or news of conflict reached him, he carved out a space for stillness and introspection. Unlike so many of us today, he didn't reach first for distractions or immerse himself in tasks. He wasn't absorbed in a to-do list or responding to every demand. Instead, he was grounding himself in a stoic state of ataraxia, a freedom from disturbance. With a reflective, intentional start, he fortified himself for the day ahead. In Meditations, Marcus opens Book 2 with advice on approaching the day. When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, "The people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly." This isn't pessimism, it's preparation. He is considering the kinds of people he will encounter, not to dread them, but to prepare his response. How can I be patient? How can I be understanding? How can I navigate these interactions? He understands, as Seneca reminds us, that the unexpected blow lands heaviest. By anticipating challenges, Marcus was ready not just to endure them, but to rise above them. If you expect everyone to be wonderful and every light to be green, you're bound for disappointment. Instead, Marcus Aurelius anticipates the day with a mindset rooted in premeditation malorum, a stoic practice of preparing for potential difficulties. In this passage, he asks himself, why are they like this? And more importantly, what is my role in relation to them? He reminds himself not to lose his temper or dismiss others, but rather to search for the good in them. By anticipating challenges, Marcus sets himself up for success. Yet, with immense responsibilities, Marcus must quickly set to work. He prompts himself to rise and take action, asking, "What were you put here to do?" Throughout Meditations, he exhorts himself, "Concentrate on your tasks like a Roman." He reflects on his predecessor Antoninus, who planned his day with precision, even timing his breaks to ensure his time was well spent. Antoninus focused fully on his duties without complaint, a trait Marcus emulates, reminding himself never to be overheard grumbling, not even internally. So what are my responsibilities? What are my tasks? Let's get to them. For Marcus, this meant making decisions, hearing cases, addressing the public, traveling, and at times, leading troops in battle. And through it all, he maintained focus. Get used to winnowing your thoughts, he advises, suggesting we should always be able to answer, if asked, what we're thinking about. Don't let the mind drift. Stay present. He speaks here of what modern thinkers might call deep work, the capacity to focus completely on the task at hand, free from distractions. Imagine Marcus in constant meetings with advisors, ministers, and ambassadors, being briefed on strategies. One lesson he draws from Antoninus is knowing when to yield the floor to experts, how to seek and accept feedback. When someone corrected him, Marcus saw it as a gift, not a slight. The harm, he notes, is in remaining in error. With so many demands on him, Marcus's work was undoubtedly exhausting and heavy. Yet he approached it with a disciplined, balanced mindset, and this balance is essential. We work hard, we give our best, But if life becomes solely about business, we risk losing perspective. Marcus reminds us not to let life revolve entirely around work, a sentiment he reiterates in Meditations. Don't be all about business. And we know that Marcus Aurelius was not solely focused on business. He led an active life, engaging in physical pursuits like boxing, wrestling, hunting, and horseback riding. He enjoyed the simplicity of walking in nature, and we see numerous reflections on the natural world in Meditations. He describes scenes such as grain bending low under its own weight, the foam on a boar's mouth, and the brow of a lion, evidence of his appreciation for the outdoors. For Marcus, nature was more than mere scenery. It was, as the Stoics believed, a temple of the gods. Each venture outside offered him a moment of spiritual connection. One common Roman pastime that Marcus rejected, however, was the carnage of the Colosseum. Though he attended out of duty, he despised the violence and futility of the games. Often, while others around him were absorbed in the spectacle, Marcus was lost in thought or reading philosophical works. His body may have been present, but his mind was elsewhere, seeking peace and reflection. Marcus understood that true relaxation was found within. He writes in Meditations about the human tendency to long for escape, to dream of getting away from it all. Yet he observes that we can retreat inward at any moment, finding sanctuary in our own souls. At the Colosseum, while the brutality unfolded around him, he sought solace in the writings of Euripides, Aeschylus, Cleanthes, Zeno, and Epictetus, immersing himself in the wisdom of philosophy. Moreover, Marcus likely found daily renewal at the baths, a fixture of Roman life. He mentions washing off the dirt of earthly life, speaking both literally and figuratively. The Roman tradition of the gymnasium, followed by a cold plunge or hot bath, was central to his routine. At Aquincum, a Roman settlement near Budapest, where Marcus likely composed parts of Meditations, he may have visited the local hot springs, finding rejuvenation in the warmth and quietude of the baths. For Marcus, this ritual was a way of shedding the burdens of the day, preparing himself to take on his responsibilities anew. Indeed, his responsibilities would have tested the endurance of even the strongest souls. During his reign, Marcus faced catastrophic floods, the devastating Antonine Plague, continuous wars, invasions, and political conspiracies. He also endured personal health struggles and complex family issues. As one historian noted, Marcus does not enjoy the good fortune he deserves. His reign was marked by relentless trials and unimaginable stress, and one can imagine moments when he felt overwhelmed, perhaps even brought to his knees under the weight of it all, whispering to himself, "I just can't do this." First and foremost, Marcus Aurelius believed he had a duty to fulfill. His people depended on him. This sense of responsibility drove him, and he understood the necessity of having effective ways to manage the immense stress of his role. His journaling practice and Stoic philosophy provided essential coping mechanisms. In the face of continuous challenges, his aim was to stay calm and centered, to avoid anger or destructive emotions, and to act with intention rather than impulsiveness. This mindset gave rise to the Stoic idea that the obstacle is the way. Whether dealing with difficult people, unsettling news, or complex situations, he sought to see every obstacle as an opportunity to practice virtue. A famous example of this is his response to the betrayal of his trusted general, Avidius Cassius. Rather than reacting immediately, Marcus stepped back, choosing silence over impulsive emotion. After reflection, he reframed the betrayal as a chance to show Romans, and history itself, how a ruler could respond to civil strife with restraint and wisdom. He tried to embody his own advice from Meditations: the best revenge is to not be like that. Marcus sought not to overreact or be crushed by adversity, but to turn each experience, whether large or small, into an opportunity to respond with integrity, virtue, and decency. Beyond his responsibilities, Marcus was dedicated to cultivating both his mind and body. When not engaged in physical pursuits, he devoted himself to reading and writing, which he considered essential aspects of his role. He maintained a rich correspondence with his mentor, Cornelius Fronto, and engaged in philosophical discussions with his teacher, Rusticus. His writing reflects a vast familiarity with classical literature and philosophy, quoting Euripides, Epictetus, Chrysippus, and Zeno. His diligence in reading was shaped by Rusticus's teaching, which instilled in him a commitment to go beyond the superficial, to grasp not just the gist, but the full depth of ideas. Marcus Aurelius approached reading with the same diligence he applied to every duty. He read not for pleasure or status, but to learn and grow. This rigorous reading habit was likely part of his evening routine. Like Seneca, who reflected on his day at night, Marcus would, in the midnight dimness, as one biographer described, review himself. Meditations is a testament to this practice, capturing his self-interrogations, his reflections on how he could improve, and his commitment to hold himself accountable. Every night, Marcus Aurelius would reflect on his day. What went right? What went wrong? Where can I improve? As emperor, there were few people who could hold him accountable. He had no superior, and the judgment of history lay in a distant future. So Marcus became his own final arbiter, guided by philosophy. Philosophy to him was the ultimate accountability. As he reminds himself, fight to be the person philosophy intends you to be. His evenings, filled with journaling, reading, and contemplation, were where these lessons took root. It's easy to imagine that no day, and certainly no night, passed without Marcus practicing memento mori, the Stoic meditation on mortality. You could leave life right now, he says. Let that determine what you do and say and think. This wasn't morbid for Marcus, but a reminder to live fully. He cherished time with his family, once writing to Fronto that he would trade all his power for more time with his wife. He advised, as you tuck your children in at night, say to yourself, they may not make it to morning. This practice wasn't about detachment, but about being fully present, savoring each moment. Throughout the day, Marcus was celebrated and revered, applauded by crowds, saluted by thousands of soldiers, and showered with gifts from foreign kings. Yet he constantly reminded himself of the fleeting nature of fame and status, resisting the allure of grandeur. He warned himself, be careful not to be Caesarified, not to be stained purple. Looking at the honors and luxuries surrounding him, he would reflect, this is merely a dead pig, a rock pulled from a mine, a piece of metal. He actively practiced humility, grounding himself amidst the surreal existence of power and privilege. For Marcus, the Stoic practice of zooming out was crucial. He often imagined the world from above, seeing armies not as powerful forces, but as swarming ants, entire cities reduced to tiny clusters. This shift in perspective kept him rooted in humility. As he approached the end of each day, he would consider his actions in light of mortality, asking, am I afraid of death because I won't be able to do this anymore? Though he valued time, he observed how often people squander it on trivial pursuits, acting as though they have eternity when in fact, time is always slipping away. The Stoics understood that death isn't something awaiting us in the distant future. It is happening right now. Each day, each hour, each moment, life itself is in motion, and each of us must decide how to spend it. Dying every minute, dying every day. Marcus Aurelius would have seen the passage of each day as a form of death. Each evening he asked himself, what do I have to show for the hours I just spent? Imagining that each night could be his last, he reflected, if I wake up tomorrow, it's a second chance. How will I grow? What will I learn? How will I honor this time and not take it for granted? A day in the life of Marcus Aurelius might seem foreign to us. The most powerful man in the ancient world, 2,000 years ago, living in ways that now seem almost unimaginable. Yet in meditations and in his daily practices, he shows us something deeply relatable. As he often reminds us, human beings are human beings. And while times change, the human experience remains strikingly similar. His habits, reflections, and values offer us timeless practices we can incorporate into our own lives. Of course, early mornings require mindful evenings. Marcus likely struggled with sleep, between health issues and the immense pressures he faced, but he still understood the need to care for himself. True discipline requires preparation, including sleep, which he approached with intention. For all his duties and midnight reflections, he made time for rest. Through this journey of writing and sharing daily reflections, I've come to realize the incredible power of small, consistent habits to create something truly meaningful. Each daily meditation has not only deepened my understanding of Stoic philosophy, but has also connected me with a vast community of like-minded people who find strength in these teachings. These daily reflections remind me that the path to wisdom isn't a quick fix. It's a lifelong practice of showing up every day, even in small ways. And through this habit, I've come to see how Stoic teachings can anchor us all in a turbulent world. If you're looking to build similar habits, or simply want to be part of a community of seekers, join us at Beacon of Ancient Insights, where we continue this journey of discovery together.